Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, Challenge Roth edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Fly Human Fly, SFuels, right fuel, right time, Master Spas, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenge Athletes Foundation, a young man we've been covering for years and years and years. This will be his last full iron distance race here at Challenge Roth. Mr. Andrew Starykowicz, a big, hairy American winning machine on the 4th of July.
Yes,
we get
sir.
to chat. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, unfortunately, this could be potentially our last conversation.
Well, I'm sure we'll chat other times, but
We'll see.
yeah. How's the health?
I go to bed at night and I feel good, and I wake up in the morning and my hips, my back. It's
You're
like
42. Come on now.
It's
You're way too young to get that stuff.
It's. I gotta say, ever since it was like the middle of 2022 is when it just. I mean, I got COVID, and then I came back and I did the European Long Distance Championships at Almere, and I broke my ankle coming out of transition, and I proceeded to run a full marathon on it.
Did you really?
Yes, I actually ran a PR 256 that day.
But the ankle's never been the same, I bet.
But no, the ankle's slowly healed, but it's just been ever since then. It's like the mind wants to do more than the body will allow
you to do. Yeah.
So I mean, I've just been fighting that ever since, and it's like every single time I feel like I'm getting caught up, and I get fit, I go do a hellacious workout, and the next day I'm injured. So.
Oh my God.
It's just, I love the sport.
Yes,
I
you do.
enjoy it. And I guess, they say it's harder to give something up when you've worked hard for it.
Yeah.
And, I've had some incredible comebacks, and, it's funny, you'll talk to some of these younger guys, and it's like, they're like, you got run over by a truck? I'm like, yeah, I got run over by a truck. It destroyed my leg and broke my back, and I made it back from that. And they're like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, I thought you were just an Uber biker. And I guess, part of it is it's, I've gone through so many trials and tribulations over the years of setbacks and high peaks, and I never wanted to be like, if 2016 was the end, I didn't want it to be like a Tim Don story. No offense to Tim.
Yes.
He capitalized on that very well. I just didn't want to be known as the guy
who broke his back, that
got run over by a truck, and that was the end of his career.
Right.
And he was a promising athlete, and I want to be known as the guy that you're the media. You guys determine what I'm known as.
Well, you're known as not just an Uber cyclist. You're a guy who has won. I've got it written here somewhere, but the number of wins you've had in your career is pretty amazing. And number
over
of
20.
Over 20
over
wins.
20.
And the thing that always impressed me,
just shy of 50 podiums.
You're like 40,
the last few years ago,
yeah.
few years ago, I'm like, let's see if I can make 50, and now it's like, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to get there.
Happen. That happened pretty quick. But the other side of it is you're dealing with the broken back, and then, real life happens with your son, with Xander. And
there's so much there's so many levels to the onion of my life, of the things in the sport, and over the years. And look, in 2015, end of 2014, I needed a hip arthroscopy. And at that time, it was a career-ending thing.
Right.
The only person who had really come back from that at that point had been Julia Mancuso. So it was, when I found out I needed that, it's like, oh shit, this, and I came back and I raced this race, was my comeback race.
Yeah.
And I basically, the doctor had very strict orders. I had the surgery in November, and it was basically, they said 1 year until you can run again. Well, here I was 8 months later racing at Roth, and they're like, you can race as long as when you feel X, Y, Z, you need to walk. You can finish, but you need to walk. So I was in second or third place at like the 24K mark.
Yeah.
And it tightened up. I stopped. I actually was like on the course, like stretching, ran a couple more steps, and it's like, nope. So I walked the rest of the way, and I might have been overserved in walking the second half marathon. I was actually walking and like having to look at kilometer marks, looking at with one eye. Like,
you did the beer half marathon, basically.
I walked and drank a lot. That's what I love about this race.
What place did you get?
It
Who
was
knows?
bad. It didn't even matter. I mean, I was in third place. I was having a great race, and I would come back from this surgery that I highly likely not coming back from.
Right.
And so
and that's not the only time.
Yeah,
you got run over by a truck.
I got
You weren't coming back, right?
2012. I got 2012 with Abu Dhabi, and pitched the head of the humerus through the labrum. Had a nerve impingement in my shoulder from that one, and then 2014 I had the hip. 2016 I got run over. Even years just weren't very good, So
Was it all worth it? I know you love.
I did
the sport.
more. I did more. I mean, I did more in the sport than I ever dreamed possible.
Yeah.
And when I left Caterpillar and walked out in 2009.
And you're a guy who had a patent. Didn't you have a patent?
Yeah, I have patents.
You have patents, right?
Yeah.
So you could have stayed the office job forever.
And when I walked out of Caterpillar, I'm like, you know what? I'll do this for a couple years.
And how old were you?
I was 26 at the time.
Now you're 42.
Yeah.
So a couple years.
I never thought. I mean, I thought 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my biggest races was in your backyard, and you were there as the LA Triathlon in 2010.
That's right.
Bevan Doherty and Javier Gomez passed me at the very end of the race, and I ended up finishing third. And that's back in the heyday of Lifetime.
Yeah, that was good money.
It was good money. It was in phenomenal fields, and still to this day, I was like, that was the turning point in my career where I'm like, I went from being a pretender and a fringe athlete to a contender, and it was like something in the brain clicked that, you know what, it gave me the confidence that, hey, I can do this, and it just from there it kind of just went up, and it was really cool.
When did you realize that you had an ability on the bike that other people did not have?
I've always had that ability. So it was very early in my career, and I was probably 2000, and I turned pro in 2005, and it was probably 2006, 2007. I became really good friends with Greg Bennett, who was at the top of his game at the time, and Greg's just like, be yourself. He says, you're never going to run as fast as me. Look at you.
Yeah,
Your
right.
legs are bigger than my body. And at that time, I was bigger than I am now. I was pushing 200 at that time, and 200 pounds. And, he said, just be yourself. And that's literally, to change the long distance landscape the way that I did is very cool. I love watching these young guys that are riding with me now.
Yep.
And now there's times I don't come off the bike in the lead, or I'm with other guys where, when I first went 405, 408, 410, I went a 408 here, and you're looking at leads in Florida, Texas of 18 minutes. And and now it's a standard time.
Right. Now people are going 357, 358. Yeah.
Right, because at that time everybody had the brainwashed Crowe mentality of ride a 420, run a 240. That's a perfect iron distance race.
Well, until Macca and the group attacked him in 2010 and said, hey, we got to put Crowe in the rearview mirror. We got to attack him between Kauai High, Javi, and Kauai High, and get a lead, and then he's gone. And that worked, and then Crowe became a better cyclist.
Right. And he still was saying, it was still at 420.
Yes.
420 was a standard.
Yeah.
Because he went from being a 430 guy to a 420 guy.
Yep.
And then, and I said, well, 420 plus 240, that's 7 hours. Well, how about 4 hours plus 3 hours? That's 7 hours. That sounds like the perfect formula.
Well, and that's the formula that would work for you.
It worked.
Yes.
And
think about how many times you were first off the bike in your career.
Over 70.
Yeah, easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
how many times you've been on the course where they're not even setting up, they haven't even come close to setting up the aid stations yet?
There's on the run course, there's been multiple times. And there was actually there's been multiple heated conversations between me and a race management company about that. Hey, you need to prepare. You got to be set up. And they're like, well, we were, and I'm like, no, you weren't.
You were set for somebody going 420, and I'm going 405.
Right. So there was lots of heated. Yeah, and you know what? And it's in a young sport that's growing. And to be, we went from riding, 210 and a half, 208 and a half, to all of a sudden you need to be under 2 hours.
Right.
And then we've gone from riding 420, 415's like a great time.
Yep.
I mean, when I went 404 in Florida in 2012, the previous best time was Rollert here when he was had a little motorcade around.
Yeah.
But and other than that, you're looking at 416.
Right.
Was the best times, and all of a sudden now you're 404. People were like, wait a second. And but granted, I knew I was never running a 240 or 230 marathon. But
I think Mark Allen's best ever bike split was 428, something like that. And obviously he just did Kona, but 428, and then you brought that down. It just kept going down. You and Cam Wurf, and changed the game.
I would say long before Cam Wurf came around, you had Keenley.
Oh, that's right.
Sebi and I just
how fun was that? You guys were off the front by yourselves.
We've played well together for a lot of years.
Yes.
And Sebi, we share a lot of sponsors over the years, and we had a very similar attitude about a lot of things in life.
Right.
And it's been, it was always a joy racing him. And we truly walked in each other's footsteps of raising the bar on the bike, and it was. There's relationships like that I hope that when I leave the sport that I can continue, because there's a lot more to it than just triathlon.
So when you're leading, it's just I remember talking to Jürgen Zach, who was one of the early Uber
yeah.
But Jürgen was coming from, he was not a good swimmer.
Yeah.
So what he loved is when he would catch that lead group and he could see them scrambling for gears.
Yeah.
Right? You never had to deal with that because you were off the front.
Right.
So, but when you're off the front, a lot of times you're flying naked because you don't know what the hell's going on behind you. You don't know
Correct.
what type of lead you're getting.
Yeah.
The guys behind you are always getting information.
Yes.
How frustrating was that, being off the front and not really knowing? When you
there's a peace of mind to it. It's very nerve-wracking at first. The first couple times where, back in the Lifetime days where I'm getting off the bike first, and you're like, how far back are they? And people are like, I don't know. And you're like, okay, well, I'm used to people saying, that's a top 3 right there. Or that, so you adapt to it, and you have to stay in your own head.
Right.
And control what you can control, and you're on that 99.9%, and when they come, I used to be 99.9. Now I said, you know what? I'm not saving that 0.1%, because if they catch me, they're going to pass me. I can't go with them. So, like in cycling, you save that 0.1%. So if somebody catches you, you go with them. But in triathlon, I just kind of pushed it to 101, 102%, and then that extra 1 or 2%, maybe I'll blow up at the end and have some good fireworks for everyone to talk about.
What do you want out of this race? Would you be like, hey, I want to come in with Magnus, and if I come off the bike right with first guy off, first, second, third guy off, I don't really care what I do in the run? Or is it something, hey, I'm just gonna ride conservatively because I want to be top 10 overall? Or
there's no such thing as riding conservatively.
Not for you.
That's
ever.
I ride conservatively. No, calculated, yes.
Okay.
But I've been here twice, and last year I had
you had a mechanical.
Yeah, I had a mechanical that put me out, and I got stuck in the 55-14, which is impossible on this
Solar
course.
Hill is good. That's good for that. Yeah.
I made it up Solar Hill in the 55-14. I think I was like 22 RPM or something, just standing on the pedals. This is a course I've aspired to do great at, and unfortunately, every single time it's just not. It hasn't panned out, and I just want to go through this race and have a good race start to finish. That said, I'm not going to go out there as a victory lap and, come in at 8:30. I think, even at 40-something years old, I think maybe I should make that my goal. If I can go 7:42.
There you go.
There we go. Let's try that.
What do you think you're going to miss about because you'll always be swimming, biking, running, I'm imagining, doing your camps and things like that.
Yeah.
But what do you think you're going to miss about the competitive side of this? Or do you see yourself doing age group racing?
No, 40 to 44 age group would be They wouldn't want me. They throw me out faster than half the pros want to throw me out. Again, like I said, my mind is at a level in the sport that is, I'm known as a hard-nosed racer. I'm ruthless. I race hard. Right. And I couldn't. Yeah. If I'm going to train, I'm going to be at that level. Right. And unfortunately, as I've aged, it just doesn't want to go to that level, and I just keep hurting myself, and I don't want to destroy myself long term. I want to be there and do the crazy things that my kids do as they get older, and now it's their turn to kind of grow in more athletics, and for me to be there. And I'm still going to do the endurance sport, but it just won't be a long course triathlon.
Well, we always appreciate. We've had a lot of conversations over the years. And we've gone. I feel like we've gone through some of the worst moments of your life with the bike crash, and with little Xander, and you doing CPR on that guy while you're in a full body cast, and just the triathlons. It's a great sport. Yeah. It's also a great family, and you've been a wonderful contributor to sport because you're never afraid to say what's on your mind. You speak the way you race. You're the Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. You go off the front, and whatever happens, happens. And it's about as pure as it gets. It's a lot of fun. And there are things that I'm gonna miss, and there's things I'm not gonna miss. But it's. Let's hope that triathlon continues to grow. I love it. Andrew, thank you for taking so much time. Always a pleasure to chat with you. And thank you for all you do for endurance sports. There's nobody else in the industry that does this type of stuff for the sport. You come out on your own dime for a lot of these events to do this. And if it wasn't for you bringing us to the audience, there's a lot of sponsors that wouldn't sponsor a lot of athletes because you're the one who brings the personalities, and you're the one who kind of showcases the really vanilla ones and the ones that are more colorful flowers. Exactly. Well, and what's cool is everybody's got such a great story. You got someone like yourself who's an engineer and could have stayed working in your cubicle and doing with that, but you chose to live your life a different way and travel the world, and hey, everybody thinks the norm is 420. I'm going for 4 hours, man. I'm changing the game here. I'm here to change a game, and that's what I love, and it's fun to cover that because hey, sometimes there can be big explosions, but sometimes. What's your favorite win or favorite moment? My favorite win is Steelhead of 2017. Okay. Wire to wire. 1 year to the week after I got run over. That's right. I remember that. And yeah, it's still emotional. That was special. Yeah, I remember that. We chatted not long after that. That was. Granted, I won Louisville later that year, which was cool, but you didn't know that you'd be able to do what you did at Steelhead. Yeah, Steelhead was very cool. Love it. So. Congrats, man. Congrats on a great career. Well, thank you. I still got a couple shots left at this. So. I love it. Hey, we'll see you out there on Sunday. Thank you very much, Bob. The big, hairy American winning machine has been our guest, Andrew Starykowicz, everybody. Hold on. We will be right back.